for science!
Position.
Who did you spectate first, and do you have deck tracker on?
Yeah, I do have a deck tracker going. I spectated Buckeye first.
Oh, great! So you have Buckeye's deck, and I have Randoom's deck.
Well, you won't see their full deck. The deck tracker will only show you what.
Sure. Looks like his full goddamn deck's here.
It shouldn't. It'll only show you what it's seen because the tracker. It might be showing you one of your decks. Make sure you're on no deck mode.
No, because it's got a card I don't have in here.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I can tell you that this is a very memey deck.
So yeah, he's playing. He told me he is playing Big Priest. Now I don't know how familiar you are with Big Priest, but
I know it is big. Willie, this is a deck that is built to literally fuck off, kill your minions if it can, but ultimately not care because it's looking to bring out big, heavy hitters, specifically Yasharaj as soon as possible.
Yasharaj is there's basically like 5 minions in the whole deck, right? They all cost a hell of a lot. You try to Barnes one of them out early. Then you revive the big ones for 4 mana. You get, a 4/9 or whatever taunt with lifesteal.
Okay, so it literally just flashed, and now I see a portion of Buckeye Fitzy's deck, and just a bit of it. Wow, I don't know what Hearthstone Deck Tracker's doing, but
that is weird, wild stuff. So Random's going to go ahead and Shadow Visions here. He sees Dragonfire Potion, Death, and Horror. I think he's probably going to want to take the Horror, but maybe the Dragonfire Potion as well. Yeah, he goes for the Dragonfire Potion.
Because, again, it's the only way you lose in this deck is to let the board get out of hand.
Yeah, and that's, this is the problem that I have with Big Priest, is you kind of just do nothing for a long time, and then hope you're not dead when all of the fireworks start to happen. But against a deck like this Paladin deck, they're just going to run you over. So you can see here.
Even the Tempo Priest that I was playing, you can just tempo with a fairly straightforward deck that doesn't have a ton of buffing. You can still roll through them if they don't catch their cards. Now, if they catch their cards, come on.
Yeah. And you see here, Randoom, he kind of wastefully used a bunch of removal there just because he knows if he allows, Murloc War Leader or something like that to hit the board, he's just going to take way too much damage before he gets to his Barnes turn, which is coming next.
Yeah, and that's the big thing with this Paladin deck is that you do have that Murloc synergy there. It's not just like waiting for a Bloodlust or waiting for all the different kinds of Druid cards.
So the Paladin deck is built around just playing a dude on curve every single turn and just overwhelming your opponent, right? Yeah. And then you also have so many of these buff cards, like you see here, Blessing of Kings in the hand. He's going to play a Getaway Kodo on a Silverhand Recruit board. That is very interesting. He's just trying to make sure he has a minion that he can stick with his Blessing. Let's see what Barnes pulls. And it gets the Obsidian Statue, which is one of the new cards in Knights of the Frozen Throne. It's a pretty sweet card, especially when you get it for 4 mana. 4/8 with Taunt, Lifesteal, Death Rattle, destroy a random enemy minion. So it takes 2 things with it.
Yeah, and that's what he's going to get on that next turn is the Eternal Servitude, right?
Mm-hmm. And this is basically what the whole deck is built around, right? So you play Barnes, you get a free giant dude. Then you can Eternal Servitude and bring back one of those dudes at, you get to pick it. It's not just a random revival, right? So
which effectively, and granted, things have to go right, but we're talking about an 8 to 10 cost minion on turn 5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then you start bringing them back over and over and over again, right? So things get out of hand pretty quickly here, and this is kind of the dream draw for Randoom. He had the Barnes, and now he has the Eternal Servitude. He also has the Dragonfire Potion should things get out of hand. Pretty sweet.
Yeah, and like you said, this is a very good Paladin deck that he is facing, but it shows you how frustrating this deck can be to play against.
Yeah, when you get high rolled, it is we actually had Raven on the podcast recently. He talked about it. He thinks that Big Priest can be the most frustrating deck to play against because of these types of situations. This happens even faster than a big Druid, which was historically kind of the rampy play the biggest stuff you can deck of Hearthstone, and now Priest with just the addition of Obsidian Statue and the Eternal Servitude suddenly kind of supplanted that. It's like instead of ramping, you just skip all that. And you just say, no, I'll just play one early and then revive them.
This is the best priest deck since when, or is it?
Well, the last expansion we saw Silence Priest kind of have its heyday, right? And
Yeah.
that's actually still probably a pretty viable deck. You play, Purify and Humongous Razor Leafs or whatever that card
Yeah.
is. That's still okay. That's still out there. And then you try to OTK people. But it just kind of fell out of favor once people kind of understood what it was trying to do. They just wouldn't let you stick those big minions, right?
There we go. There's the Morlock war leader. So at least he's going to have something to work with. But still, that's just such a boner.
Right now, Buckeye Fitzy is just flailing. He's just like, okay, I guess I'm just throwing these guys onto the board. It's at this point, it might just feel over. Now you see too the pint-sized potion with the Shadow Word Horror combo, so you basically can kill any board with that combo.
Yeah, and Randoom is just gonna set up for laps, like he's lapping right in his face.
He went ahead and thought stole the Lich King or the Death Knight card. Sorry, not the Lich King, a servant of the Lich King. Death Knight Uther here. That's interesting. I don't know if he'll ever have time to play that because he's probably going to have killed Buckeye Fitzy by then.
Yeah, I would suspect that this will not last long enough that he will have to flip that card.
Yeah, this game is pretty much in the books already. But it's only game one, and Buckeye Fitzy clearly has like a pretty good lineup. Both players did ban Druid, by the way, which I think was expected. We are living in Druid Stone at the moment.
Yeah.
Which
but for this one, it's girls' night only. No boys allowed.
Here's by the way, this is the beauty of a tournament setting is that the ladder, it's Druid Stone, Heroes of Druid Stone, right? Like we get it. But in a tournament, you just ban that and you don't have to deal with it anymore. So if you're frustrated playing on the ladder, go find like an open tournament to play in or join the DHL. And you won't have to play against Druids ever again.
Sure, and it brings the fact that like this is.
Oh, this is so frustrating. By the way, you see Buckeye Fitzy plays the Sunkeeper Tarim to knock the Obsidian statue down, but when he kills it, it kills his Sunkeeper Tarim.
Yeah, that's
the power of that card.
Jeez. What have you seen thus far? What card have you seen thus far that has the most likelihood to get nerfed, if any?
I think there's a lot of talk right now about Innervate and Spreading Plague in Druid.
I would agree. Spreading Plague.
Yeah. A lot of people think it's the ultimate infestation, the 10 mana card. But that card I think is actually okay. It's a very powerful card, but it takes your entire turn, right? So the fact that Druid doesn't care if you build a huge board against them anymore because they just build the board with 1/5 taunts all of a sudden, that's kind of not really. They shouldn't be strong in that area as well.
Well, or they should be more disposable. You got to drop the health on.
Sure, yeah, maybe make them 1/4s instead of 1/5s. I don't know. It feels like that was always a weakness of Druid, and now suddenly that's not a weakness anymore. Like they just don't have a weakness now. That's not good. Every class should have a little give and take, right? And what they're good and bad at.
There we go. That was Buckeye Fitzy swinging his 3/3 in. He now has board control again, but the question with this deck is always for how long.
Well,
Randoom has a lot of options.
I'm gonna guess he's not gonna have board control in about 3, 2, 1 Dragonfire Potion.
So you'd go Dragonfire instead of the Shadow Word.
Yeah, because the Shadow Word Horror pint-sized potion will deal with basically any board in the future. But in this position, like all of these guys will die to Dragonfire. There's no guarantee that the next board that gets set up will also die to Dragonfire, right?
And it's not like he has anything awesome to play with that extra 1 mana, right?
Yeah, yeah. He'll just pass on the 6. But it looks like he's thinking options though, thinking options through. Next turn will be another Obsidian statue, so he just wants to have as clean of a board as possible for that.
Yeah.
A Finja coming out. Finja is a strong card in this deck. It's not one that I'm using in my current version of the deck. But, I mean, getting free Murlocs on the board, always good.
Oh, hell yeah.
So this is kind of interesting.
Another big problem with playing against this deck in particular is that they don't put out a lot of minions.
No. Yeah. This is one of the decks that doesn't care about the board.
Finja is going to murk.
Yep. Yeah, and when they do put a minion out, is Finja ever going to kill it? Because it's going to be a Ysera or a Lich King.
You can't put a Finja against an Obsidian Stone, Dills. That just don't make sense.
That's just ridiculous. Now you can bone merit. You can dick horse your Finja there.
You can get on your dick horse and ride. Wow, a Shadow Word Pain. This is just insult.
By the way, that was an interesting sequencing there.
Sorry. Triggering the getaway, Kodo.
I want to point out something that Randoom just did. It might look like he wasted a Shadow Word Pain there, but he wanted to make sure that he didn't give a Finja back to Buckeye Fitzy because of the getaway Kodo. So that was a really astute play to go ahead and kill off the 1/1 first. So
this is a very well executed version of this deck here.
Those are the types of mistakes that are really, really easy to make, right? So
yeah.
But this is why these guys are here in the top of the DHL. These are some strong players. Got to make strong plays. And I think Buckeye Fitzy's thinking about whether he should go ahead and Gentle Megasaur now or maybe just utilize the button. Pushing the button is always a good thing to do. It decides to push the button. Look, that button's there. You only get to push it once a turn. If you don't push it, you never get to press it again on that turn.
And what are these guys going to do with their time if you're not sending them out there to battle?
Exactly.
But yet, even now, you've got you've got ways to take this board down, right?
Yeah, I mean, no board is really ever safe because they have so many different options to kill it. Although he doesn't actually have anything at the moment. He could Shadow Visions into, say, another Dragonfire Potion.
Yeah.
He can become a Death Knight right now. It'll give him a 5/3 weapon with lifesteal, so he can go ahead and kill off the Murloc War Leader.
Yeah.
And that looks like what's going to happen. Then forevermore, he's going to be summoning 2/2s. And if Buckeye Fitzy ever lets 4 of them come onto the board, the game will end.
Game is over.
Brother Randoom.
Although that is unlikely to happen because finally this deck for Buckeye Fitzy is starting to come into shape here with all of his buff cards.
No, he's definitely stabilized quite a bit. Now he's got the Spiked Ridge Steed and the Blessing of Kings, and of course the Dick Horse. So he's got lots and lots of options. So this could be a moment where he's actually turned the game around a little bit. This game for sure felt over not too long ago. Well,
but again, you just have you're just waiting for Godot if you're playing this big priest deck.
No, that's true. Yeah, I mean, at any moment, here comes the Yashiraj, and that's it, right? So this is an interesting turn here. There's no clean way to deal with this. He can death the 5/5 if he wants to. He could just go ahead and drop the Obsidian statue because it will take a few things with it, but that doesn't feel great when there's a 1/1 on the board that might just potentially be, that might take that damage. There's another Dragonfire Potion, so he can actually clear the board except for the 2/6 that gets left behind.
But he'll take that all day.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. Oh, my God, he passes that up for a Shadow Essence. He's going to try to find that Yashiraj, and he does.
And good God, great googly moogly, he did.
This was a bit of a YOLO play here, but I think it's working out. This was the card he was looking for right there. All right, he's going to go ahead and drop a 4 Horseman. Let's see who we got there. Ric Flair? Is that Arn Anderson? I can't tell.
I think it might be Tulip Blanchard.
Oh, and he's playing a Lyra in this deck. You don't see that in Big Druid or Big Priest very often. No, it's just not very big.
That's a very curious card. I mean, I guess if you are trying to solve that problem of just having jackass to do until you're waiting for the cards you need to move this deck along, then maybe Lyra is the answer to that. But certainly a bummer. You would almost hope that he got some of the bigger minions that are in this deck.
Yeah, I think he wants to find... I think there's still one more statue in the deck because he got the first one he got off of the Barns, right?
Yep.
And so he's drawn this one. They generally always run 2. So that would have been a much better choice because then it protects the Yashiraj as well.
Let alone a Lich King or something like that.
Oh, yeah, or Lich King. That would be fantastic. All right, so I think we're going to see the Dick Horse play here. Yep. Bone Mare's coming out.
You're going to have to, you're going to have to pop out this Dick Horse real quick. Get 3 beefy minions on the board. Sack that.
Yeah, this allows him to kill off the Lyra as well. And the Lyra is definitely dangerous. You leave that thing on the board. I like going face with the 4/3. Because the 2/2 isn't really a problem until there's 3 of these, right? So
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. He's also playing a Mind Vision in his big priest deck.
Again, you just want stuff. He needs some activity.
He just wants stuff to do. Oh my God, he got the worst of the 2 cards, the Grimscale Chum, but some information. Shadow Word Death will clean up the Bone Mare. Then you can go ahead and Potion of Madness here, and this is actually a pretty sweet Potion of Madness.
Yep.
Oh, except it doesn't die. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Unless he's going to use it to clean up the 0-1.
It doesn't die. I think there's a little bit of a miscalculation there, perhaps.
Well, he might want to. Yeah, unless he wants to take.
Yeah, he's gonna give it back now. I think he might have assumed it was going to die, but it does not. However, he is going to go ahead and punch him in the face and get him down to 9 health. Buckeye Fitzy will still have the 5/1 Murloc Tidecaller that will dump a 2/6 on the board when it dies. And this is interesting. Now the Gentle Megasaur is going to hit 3 targets.
Yeah. As ICU points out, that one wasn't a misses play. It was a misplay.
It was a misplay, yeah. Okay, so let's see where he decides to go with this 7/1.
The Wind Fury.
He can actually deal 14 damage this turn if he wants to. That feels pretty good, to be honest.
And that's what he goes with.
Yeah.
Hop. Hop.
Listen, when life gives you chances to deal 14 damage, you take that, right?
And that's a worst possible option when you when he left that there. But oh my god!
Wow, that was quite the pickup. He can actually make one attack and then another attack and then clean up the entire board. And Buckeye Fitzy's deck or hand is completely empty.
So with the 4 horsemen charging down, no matter what J.J. Dillon says, this one is now again firmly in Randoom's palm.
Yeah, this game is seesawed back and forth multiple times now. It looked at the beginning like there was no chance for Buckeye Fitzy. He crawled his way back, and now has found a way to kind of even the odds. But there we go. The Obsidian Statue into Obsidian Statue is probably going to spell the end of this one.
You know, call Buckeye Fitzy a fool with his money because he's living hand to mouth right now.
By the way, the Spiked Ridge Steed is usually a very good draw. But when you're running up against a 4/8 with Taunt, Lifesteal, and Death Rattle kill something, it's not enough. It's just not enough.
Yeah, but also what choice do you have, right?
No, I mean, this is, he's got to do this and hope and pray that somehow this works out. He's making 1/1 Murlocs every turn, by the way, and Randoom is making 2/2 Horsemen. This is not a fair fight anymore.
Specifically since he's burnt through both of his war leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Did he burn through both of his...
yeah, both. No. Actually, only one war leader's been played, and only one Megasaur. So those would be cards that could potentially do stuff. He still has a Tyrion somewhere in there. Yep. He may or may not have a Death or a Lich King, and that's another card that could maybe bring him back in there.
With Lifesteal and Kill a Minion.
Yeah.
Are just brutality.
And there is another one.
Yeah.
You thought one was bad. How about 2?
Well, gets a weapon on this. A Rallying Blade.
Yeah. Here's the thing though. If he uses the Rallying Blade to kill the 2/4, he's down to 3 health. Randoom goes back up to 21. I think yeah.
I think it's time to pack up the tent and get back to the minivan.
Yeah, if you're Buckeye Fitzy, you're moving on.
Yeah.
Because this is just going to gain so much life. He's never going to be able to get through all this stuff. There you go. One recruit down. Still has his Murlocs. I mean, I guess potentially you could just pass here. The 4/8's not going to get through to your face yet.
And you're just looking for a city.
Well, here you go, though. Mind Vision will take this Rallying Blade, and he'll be able to use that to clean up the 2/2.
Yeah.
And then start damaging the face with the 4/8. So maybe there's a chance that a Tyrion draw could at least extend this game just a touch. Yeah. But the time has come. I return. There's the Tyrion.
And there we go.
Okay. Okay.
Well, look who just showed up.
This is actually going to at least give him one more turn. I mean, he can go ahead and pop that thing down. By the way, I've been calling cards all night. It's just kind of crazy.
I know. I'll tell you what, man. You got the touch. You got the feeling. But there we go. That's Shadow Word Death.
Yep. Shadow Word Death was all he needed. Oh, and the Yashiraj never even going to see the light of day. That means game 1 goes over to Randoom. By the way, Randoom was a real tough guy to beat towards the end of the DHL. He beat me very, very easily in my 7th week match.
Yeah.
And he just steamrolled everybody towards the end. He just kind of found that special sauce, you know?
Well, and just to go back to that deck, it really is won or lost in the first 4 turns.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Because what you saw there was a kind of picture-perfect opening turn, and then the deck stalled out to the point where he was in legitimate trouble. But as long as everything shows up before the end and you get that hot start, you're rocking and rolling.
Sure. By the way, speaking of special sauce, that game was brought to you by Sir Kensington's special sauce. Put it on a burger. Put it on your fries. Put it on some titties. Put it anywhere. You can't go wrong with Sir Kensington's special sauce.
Also by NBC's new drama, Hey, Who Are You? Starring Scott Baio and the kid from Signs. He's not the kid from Sixth Sense. He was too expensive, and he looks really weird. That's Hey, Who Are You? On NBC this Christmas.
Also brought to you by Bob's Sponges. Heard of SpongeBob? Bob's Sponges.
All right, Dills, back here.
Going into game number 2.
Warlock deck here for Randoom, and Buckeye Fitzy is like, listen, unless you are bringing that gimmicky garbage, I am going to run over you with this Paladin deck.
So he knows that the Paladin deck is likely his best deck, his strongest deck. So he wants to go ahead and just keep playing it until he gets a win, which is, I think he feels inevitable. Buckeye is, very confident in this deck, as a lot of people are. It's one of the strongest decks in the meta. Randoom, of course, as we know, the self-proclaimed memer of the evening. He has what looks to be a demon-style control warlock with Drain Soul, the Tainted Zealot, which is kind of cool because it actually works really well with Defile, the new warlock spell. Because it gives you the spell power, then it goes off once, then the second time it goes off, it kills itself, then it goes off a third time, right? So
you can reach things up to 6 mana.
Yeah, exactly. Like for 2 cards and 4 mana, you oftentimes kill entire board fairly easily.
That is a problem when you look at a Murloc deck, where even when you buff them, they're never really up above 5. Right?
Yeah, and oftentimes you can manipulate the board state so that you end up with that kind of stepping stone thing that Defile really shines in, right? You get all their health totals to be 1 apart, and all of a sudden board gone.
Yeah. Which really, I'll tell you what, Defile to me feels like a card that has done exactly. That feels like a really well-balanced, smart card that does a lot of damage if you are paying a lot of attention to the board.
Yeah, it requires a lot of there's a lot of skill in playing it properly, right? It's knowing when to play it. It's a super well designed card, and it's like one of my favorite cards of the set because it gives Warlock kind of what they needed, which was another really good control tool to bring back what a lot of people really enjoyed, which was the handlock style deck. Yeah, that had just gone away. Warlock was an absolute dumpster of Journey to Ungoro.
It lived in the dumpster, and not like a Sesame Street one, like a gross one that has bodily fluids in it.
Yeah, not like a nice one that people come by and visit you at. No, they were basically the forgotten souls.
It was like
of
a medical
Ungoro.
Waste dumpster.
Yes.
Like a weird, they're dumping like old liposuction and blood.
Yeah, like it smells bad when you're near it, and yeah, exactly.
It's got that weird like super metal biohazard sign on it.
Funny enough, though, Sir Kensington's special sauce goes on dumpsters, even the gross ones.
So here we go. A Hellfire, and again, this is where the control part of Control Warlock comes in, as he just wipes the board with a fairly decent little Murloc setup. Buckeye.
Oh, there's a Happy Ghoul. This is a pretty fun card that you see some people messing around with in Priest as well, because if you heal yourself as a Priest,
you can do easily.
Play a 0-mana 3/3, right? But this deck has all of these different ways to heal itself. It's got Siphon Soul. It's got the card that we already saw, the Drain Soul, which heals yourself. It also usually runs a couple of healing cards like Earthen Ring Farseer. So every now and then you're just going to get a free 0-mana 3/3. Which is quite fun. Look how happy that guy is.
Just a hell of a time for everyone.
Look how happy he is. I mean, he's making snow angels.
Oh,
he's
God.
Smiling. He's just having a great time. All right, so not a lot to do here for Buckeye Fitzy. He's just kind of chugging away right now and hoping for these big power turns that are coming up with the Spiked Ridge Steed into the Bone Mare. Randoom's kind of got a little bit of a funky spot, too. He can do the Tainted Zealot play right now, and that would clear the board.
Yeah, but the question is...
Is that worth it yet?
Is it worth it? And I'll tell you what, if you look over at what's in Buckeye Fitzy's hand, it kind of is, right? When he's got all these buff cards coming up.
Sure. Yeah, you when turn 6 arrives for... I like this play, too. He's going to do Defile, and then the Murloc Warleader will go down to 1 health. Yeah. And then he can use the Mortal Coil to draw a card off of it. I actually really like that. And you keep your Tainted Zealot, and you draw a card, and then you get to life tap as well. That's a heads-up play there.
That is, and it, might in another world kind of seem like an overkill on that board, but knowing that that there is death in the offing for with that Paladin deck, he wants to make sure that Buckeye Fitzy shows up to what he thinks is an orgy, only to find a PTA meeting.
Look, Spiked Ridge Steed is one of the most powerful cards in the game right now, and when you leave a target on the board with for a Paladin,
there we go, Gentle Megazord, which shows you how strong of a card that is. That it's a decent play at this point as a 5/4,
4-mana 5/4. It's fine,
even without buffing everything, but he's got to toss that out in a way that I don't think he would otherwise want to.
He just really wants to make sure he has something on the board next turn, so he needs multiple bodies, right? So Righteous Protector would have given him a little bit more of a chance to make sure to keep something, but he just wants to get all the value he can out of that button. So push the button. That's what I always say.
And now look at this. We got that Tainted Zealot, which would have made the combo last term, now out there, and a 1/3/3. Be missing the 2 if he got another Defile.
So he could go for an aggressive line here and just Bone Mare hit face for 9.
Yeah.
That's actually that's there. That's on the table. Could also go for Righteous Protector plus Spiked Ridge Steed, making a taunt 3/7 with Death Rattle, summon a 2/6. That seems pretty strong to me as well, because it has the Divine Shield. There's actually lots of options here. I'm not sure exactly which one is the best. Buckeye Fitzy's thinking through all of them.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Because you just played the way that you did the turn before to make sure that he didn't have cards out there to buff. He drops a 5/4 that is going to get dick for him.
Yes.
He had before. Granted, it's an overplay, but knowing that you just made the turn you did before, should that have been more of a consideration?
Yeah, possibly. I think that what Buckeye Fitzy's trying to do here is he just wants to make sure he's applying maximum pressure, because Warlock obviously wants to utilize its health as a resource, right? Drawing those cards. So the more damage you can just do, the more you can just go face. You take away one of their biggest tools, which is the ability to just draw cards at will. So, I think he's just kind of thinking, how am I going to make sure that I'm just dealing face damage in this game? Because also, as soon as he draws something like a Tyrion, he can then find himself with an Ashbringer and deal the rest of that 15 damage. So, I like the line by Buckeye Fitzy. I think it was pretty good.
Yeah. And I was talking about the play with Randoom, and Enthrallment in the chat says there would still be a 1/1 on the board after a Siphon. True facts. However, that 1/1 would not have turned into a 9/8.
No, that's true. It would have been a 5/5. Yeah. Definitely valid.
Getting the turn out, clears the board.
He does clear the board, but he, again, has to take damage to do it.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of great options here. I mean, you did just see a bunch of removal used, so maybe it is time to go ahead and pull the trigger on the Righteous Protector Spectrid Steed play. Could also just drop 3 minions on this turn.
I very much think Buckeye needs to keep the foot on the gas. And,
But like, do you make one big minion, or do you just spread the board a little bit, right? I think that's really the question here. I like spreading the board, too.
I would say that, yeah. Absolutely.
Because all of the AoE options for Randoom basically involve hurting your own face. So
and he has limited real estate in that account.
Yeah, face is running out of face right now. We're at half. We're at a third face remaining. So yeah, I think that's what Buckeye Fitzy is thinking. He's going to go ahead and just go wide.
The light dims, but we fight.
No, I don't know. He's waffling a little bit. He's not sure.
Oh, where's that red one gonna go?
All right, there it is. Murloc War Leader. Push the button. 3 minions on board. This might force Randoom to have to use the Abyssal Enforcer here.
I think that's definitely going to be what happens.
Because he probably wanted to be playing Lich King, but oh no, he's still okay. The problem with Lich King is that you leave up a Murloc War Leader, which never feels good. However, there's no Murlocs with charge in this Paladin deck. So most of the time, a Murloc War Leader is not too crazy. The issue with this, though, again, he's damaging his own face. He's down to 8 health now. And Uther of the Ebon Blade actually equips a 5/3 weapon, so he can go ahead and get that going, knock down Randoom to 2 health, meaning he can no longer life tap, which is a pretty big deal. So I think if I'm Buckeye Fitzy, I think it's time to just go ahead and get that weapon going.
Yeah.
Buckeye Fitzy really takes his time, though, if you noticed.
Well,
he thinks through all of his options.
He is a lawyer by trade, so
That's true.
He is here for the details.
A lawyer, and a loyal fan of Ohio sports.
Indeed, he is.
When the Giants beat the Reds in the playoffs, and I think it was 2012, me and him had quite a few Twitter exchanges.
Yeah.
That was a good time. I enjoyed that.
And man, oh man, this does not look good.
Well, Lich King will at least put up a wall, and then if he can survive one more turn, next turn he will get the Death Knight down, and the Death Knight gives him 5 armor, and also allows him to then have a hero power that heals him, right? So he can maybe stabilize from that point. And right now, there's no way to get through for Buckeye Fitzy, so he may be looking for, right now, I think an eye for an eye would be a good pickup here, but doesn't find one.
I love that eye for an eye is now just something you see in the game more.
It's beautiful, like, because we talked about this on the show, that there's a bunch of cards that exist, but never ever get to be played, right?
Yeah.
And the really cool thing that they've been doing with a lot of the sets is introducing ways for those cards to get played, right?
Yeah, by the discovery tactics.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Discovery is perfect way to get those cards in. So this Vilefin Inquisitor might never see play because it turns a hero power that's making 2/2s into a hero power that's making 1/1s.
Yeah.
Kind of an unfortunate card. All right, this might be the turn to go ahead and play the hero. Oh no, he's going to go for a Drained Soul instead. He's able to also make a Happy Ghoul, and he can siphon the 4/8, kill off the 2/6 that comes out with the 6/5, and then the Lich King gets to go face.
He says, "How shall I make it great?"
And finds an anti-magic shell. This is one of the best Lich King cards out there because
I would say that and the weapon, right?
Yeah, the weapon in this one. Also the just kill a card or kill a guy card is pretty good.
But I all right. Yeah, you're right. Kill a guy to take the damage, probably the best, or at least.
Although he can't use it right now because he's at 7. But killing guys is generally good in Hearthstone.
Yeah, I mean that you're going to use it in more situations, right?
Yeah.
You got to build a board, which is something that doesn't always happen to play anti-magic shell. And the weapon, as useful as it is, ultimately biggest usefulness is bringing everything back.
So here's an interesting spot here. Do you go ahead and plop down the eye for an eye now? Because the 3/3's on board, so he might, if Randoom is smart enough, he doesn't hit face with the Lich King, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. Eye for an eye is out.
Yeah, but he's just going to go ahead and just chuck it out. He's going to play double secrets, so hopefully maybe confuse Randoom just a little bit here. This seems like a decent time to play your Death Knight.
Yeah.
That's one of the things about the Death Knight cards, especially this one that costs 10 mana. It's pretty hard to find time to play it, right?
Yeah.
And
Well,
instead, no, he's going to Siphon
yeah.
Soul it too.
I guess he really wants to spread out the time before he plays Blood Reaver.
There you go. Attacks first with a 3/3. Smartly done. Gonna go ahead and make the anti-magic shell and get Buckeye Fitzy to 1. So technically he did miss lethal. He attacked first with the Happy Ghoul, but I don't think it's going to come back to haunt him here. Here's the card that we were talking about, Obliterate. Destroy a minion, your hero takes damage equal to its health.
Wow. And that was a game that you thought Buckeye had in hand, but some real fancy footwork by Randoom, and he pulls out the victory.
And Randoom now goes up 2-0 and now has to find a victory with his Warrior deck. Warrior deck, which I'm not exactly sure what it is. You would think that people would be bringing pirates, right? Pirate Warrior, that makes sense.
Pirate Warrior with the new Ice Crown cards or Ice Throne cards are great.
But we have been told that Randoom is on the meme train, so I'm gonna guess it's going to be something else, and I'm not sure what that something else might be. There is a Arcane Giants deck you can play
on the Warrior side these days.
There's the Arcane Giants deck where basically the point is you use the Dead Man's Hand card to continue to put more and more Arcane Giants into your deck, right? And then you just kind of go off with those. That's kind of the only thing that's really been introduced since Knights of the Frozen Throne. Maybe there's been some Control Warrior play again, but not a whole bunch. And now we're going to see a Warrior versus Warrior battle here.
A Clinch in the chat room says his first two decks have not been meme decks. Although I would say that the Big Priest is very effective right now, it is a little meme.
So
right?
Okay, they're not technically meme decks in the sense that like he's not playing OTK Paladin Death Knight or these true meme decks, but he is playing decks that aren't kind of the norm that you're seeing. He's not bringing Jade Druid, Murloc Paladin and stuff like that. He's Big Priest is definitely on the memeier side of decks that are good, right?
Yeah. Well, Buckeye Fitzy, being the man from Cleveland that he is, has pulled AJ McCarron, pulled the red rifle for AJ McCarron here. He has benched his Paladin deck after losing twice.
Yep.
And goes with the Warrior deck as it turns into a mirror match.
It is s'more time, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and this is going to be Pirate versus Quest.
Generally, Quest has the upper hand here because if there's one thing that stops Pirate decks, it's a whole bunch of taunts, one after another, right? However, Buckeye Fitzy has an incredible start here.
But what do you think the decision is to not roll right into third game with the deck that you lost with twice?
I think there's a psychological thing going on there where that deck suddenly just doesn't feel very good to him.
Yeah.
So I kind of like if you're losing with a deck, just go ahead and swap out. You do technically because we are playing Conquest. Eventually, you do have to win with that deck.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's nice to just get a little bit of a change of pace, come back to it maybe after a game that you've won, get a little confidence going, try to get the momentum back on your side. It can just feel really bad to just lose 3 straight games with the same deck, right? Even if it is technically your best deck in your lineup.
It could just make you a failure. I mean, it would feel even worse, right?
Sure.
Like, and here come the taunts. What do you like here, Willie?
So Oh, I didn't even see all the options there, but he takes the shield bearer, which that's an interesting choice. It is a cheap taunt, so it allows you to start completing your quest faster, but
I guess he just really wants Acolyte and Shield Bearer on turn 4, huh?
yeah, maybe. What were the other options? I didn't see.
Grizzly, I know, is one of them, and I didn't see the third one.
The Grizzly seems better than a shield bearer to me, but okay. All right, fair enough. Now, this Frothing Berserker is well protected
But I guess
by
maybe
this Dread Corsair.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So Dirty Rat Shield Bearer?
This
and then
Dirty Rat is going to backfire in a huge way when a second Frothing Berserker hits the board. You might just go ahead and drop the Shield Bearer and then just try to set up for the Brawl next turn. I like that.
I think that's exactly.
I like that quite a bit, actually. Heroic Strike is going to allow Buckeye Fitzy to get an attack through, though. He can use the Heroic Strike on the 0-4, the 6-4 can hit the 2-6, and then the Frothing Berserker and the Dread Corsair will both be able to hit face. Gonna go with the War Axe instead, though. Oh, he's gonna use the War Axe and the Heroic Strike to kill out the 2-6 in one clean swoop. But he's still, annoyingly, gonna have to throw 7 damage into a 0-4 Shield Bearer. This Brawl, though, really needs to not leave up an 8-4 right now.
Yeah, about that. Tell you what, it's 3-card money. He's just looking for the lady. And he does.
And the 8-4 wins. Well, it was the strongest minion on the board, right?
Good point. In lore, it should win.
It should win, yeah.
So at this point, Randoom is just a Stonehill Defender. What has brought for me today?
He's got this a Stonehill Defender and Prey situation going on here, I think.
He's got an Execute, but he's got no way to do it without killing himself.
Yeah, there's no activator. So he really needs to find a second taunt that he can play right now, I think, off of that.
Which
he can actually play... No, he can play the Dread Corsair because he can get the Fiery War Axe up. Yeah.
Exactly.
So for one turn, he is protected, but what we know and he doesn't is that a Spellbreaker will end this game.
Yeah.
The Buckeye Fitzy gets onto the board.
He's got a Leroy just for laughs. Chuckle it up, Buckeye. You have not been swept.
He can decide which way would I like to finish my opponent here. But Buckeye Fitzy is going to find a victory. And so he is now down 2-1. Still has to find wins with the Priest deck and the Paladin deck. But now he does know what Randoom's final deck is, right? So that's a good advantage to have. At least now you kind of know what you're going into, and you know how to mulligan properly to, best kind of give yourself a shot to win.
If you are Randoom, what are you looking more forward to? The Priest deck or the Paladin deck that you've already beaten twice?
To be honest, I think he probably wants the Paladin again. I think the Paladin is going to be his better. Yeah. Priest has so many ways to just kind of out-control every other control deck out in the world. So
yeah.
The one thing about Paladin, though, is once you actually complete the quest and you start chucking out 8 damage fireballs at random, the hero power of the Paladin is pretty strong at that point because it just continues to put more minions onto the board, right?
Yeah.
Priest hero power is not necessarily going to do much for you at that point. But we'll see here. I mean, Buckeye, it's up to Buckeye what he wants the matchup to be. Randoom has one deck and one deck only to choose from. So he's queuing up the Taunt Warrior. By the way, we'll give big shout out to A-Move TV for the host recently. I guess one of the shows just ended, so we got a nice 80-person host there. So thank you guys.
Hey, look at that. Always showing love to the brothers at A-Move, the good brothers.
The good brothers at A-Move, yeah. I think it's Thursday, so it must have been Into the Nexus.
Oh, great. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Garrett and Kyle.
Yes. And if they had any co-casters on there with them, to those people as well.
Oh, as well. Oh, please, yes.
By the way, that last game was brought to you by the now disbanded CEO commission of Donald Trump. Thank you guys so much for the generous donations. Now that you're not working for Trump anymore, lots more time to sponsor Hearthstone casting events. So Well, thank you
Also
guys.
by their interns, who surely ordered their statement to spell out resist.
Buckeye Fitzy making the proper play on turn 2 of healing your opponent. He didn't emote, though. He needed to say, the light will burn you, but
Yeah.
a little bit of a misplay. Dirty
Ooh,
Rat against the
Dirty
Big
Rat.
Druid is quite scary. Oh, my God.
Yeah. That is really, that takes the kind of nuts that squirrels would be proud of for the winner.
Yeah,
because-
Randoom showing balls of steel there.
Yeah, no, just, I mean, impenetrable spheres.
And if he had done it one turn later, by the way, there would be a Lich King on the board right now.
Certainly so, which, by the way, by my math, is bad. For Randoom.
Generally bad, yeah.
Yeah.
Turn 2 Lich Kings oftentimes win you games. The Shadow Word, Pain, going to go ahead and take care of that Dirty Rat. And unfortunately now for Randoom, there's no follow-up to the Dirty Rat play. I think, though, you know, I think his reasoning for dropping Dirty Rat was he did have a hand with Slam and Execute in it, right? So no matter how bad it was, he would have been able to deal with any minion that dropped down.
Well, and theoretically, if you are going to play that card, you'd want to do it at the beginning.
Sure. Yeah. They most of the time a priest deck. I don't know if he knows that it's a big priest at this point. But most of the time, a priest deck is going to be mulliganing away any big minion except for like the only one they'll keep is Barnes. Yeah. And if you can Dirty Rat their Barnes, they don't get the battle cry. So
then that's, I mean, you might have won the game.
Yeah, no, you've literally neutered their game plan, right? So
yeah, you just snipped it, right off.
You took your big balls and you chopped off their balls.
Your big balls turned into scissors, probably sliced off their balls and just discarded them with reckless abandon.
Mm-hmm. By the way, this is one of the problems I have with Big Priest is that oftentimes you get in the situation. You've seen that he has done absolutely zero until turn 6. Makes a 5/5 Lyra, though, which he will be able to res.
That's a better way to do a Lila. Ooh. It's a fiery war axe. He says, stand back, boys. I'll do this one myself.
So we know that the turn, like, things are about to get, very, very. There's just a bunch of power coming down for Buckeye Fitzy over the next few turns. However, by then, is it going to be too late? I think is the question. As Randoom has been able to essentially, at will, get almost more than halfway through his quest, and once that quest is done, then
it's going to be all of a sudden the canvas that Buckeye has to paint on is a lot smaller. And for the record, we credited Randoom as being the meme prankster, and it seems like all of this was very much in the meta. Both players did wind up playing Big Priest.
Yeah, no, he told me that he was going to be memeing, but these are definitely, like I said, these are on the upper end of memes. These are not pure. Like, this isn't the type of stuff you take onto the casual ladder, right?
And here we go. He now has his option. In 2 turns, he will definitely clear that quest. And
yeah, Curator, by the way, is just a fantastic card in this deck because there's a bunch of these beasts that are now taunt minions that are also beasts. There's dragons that are taunt minions that are also beasts. You don't care about the Murloc thing. It's just draw 2 taunt minions, right?
Yep.
All right, so Lich King coming down.
What gift has to give?
Now, he will be able to go... Oh, that's a big card. Obliterate. He'll be able to
very
kill one of these big taunt minions off. But he's going to be able to go Lich King, Ysera, Yashiraj. And then he's going to be able to start rezzing these guys all back. He can actually just play... He can just play 2 Lich Kings next turn if he wants to.
Yep.
I think that's probably the play, to be honest. I mean, just make 2 Lich Kings, right? Although, wait a minute, he has 9 cards. He'd go down to 7, and then each Lich King would draw a card at the end of the turn. So no, he'd be fine. He wouldn't overdraw.
Yeah, he hits 10.
I like the double Lich King play personally.
I think he needs to drop it back on the table and say, listen, I'm not going to be pushed around. And he's got 1.
Lich King number 1 hits the board. Oh, he's going for the Obliterate instead. Taking a whole bunch of damage in the process, but able to heal up a little bit of that.
Pick up sticks.
And there's the Frostborn.
Wow, I agree with you. I think dropping those double 8/8s was the way to go. But because that's the one thing that I would say about that play is that health is such a treasure in that big priest deck.
Sure.
It's literally the only way that you can lose.
So the one thing that's always a bit scary when you're playing a deck like this big priest deck against the Taunt Warriors, you know that the brawls are out there, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to be overextending. So he might be thinking, look, I'll just play that kind of one big bro a turn.
Yeah.
And I'll just kind of let Randoom deal with that.
See how he deals with it.
Yeah, because he's also got a bunch of gas to be able to continue dropping these big minions, right?
Point, yeah.
He's got the Eternal Servitude. He's got the Yasharaj. He's got these. He actually kind of didn't want to draw all of his minions, but he did, unfortunately. And that completes the quest, so... Sulfuris now in the hand of Randoom. Looks like he's going to go ahead and play it so he can take a 50-50 chance on killing off this Lich King. It looks like it does hit the Lich King, so he can go ahead and jam face for 7 damage.
Yeah.
Bringing Buckeye Fitzy down to 9. And unfortunately for Buckeye Fitzy right now, he's got kind of half of all the combos he needs. He's got the Pint-Sized Potion without the Shadow Word Horror. If he plays a Yasharaj, I think the only minions left, though, are Obsidian statues.
Which would be very good for him.
Sure. I mean, they taunt. They have lifesteal. That might be the only way out here. I mean, he could also go ahead and make another Lich King. He could go for like Shadow Essence and Eternal Servitude, because Shadow Essence would give him a 5/5.
There are so many different ways that Randoom can get that off the board, though, from what he knows.
Oh, he does have a Lyra still in the deck, doesn't he? Yeah, he has a Lyra. Oh, this is interesting. So he makes the Lyra, and now he's just going to hope that Lyra finds him cards that will help. I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah.
He finds a heal. That's pretty big. He needs to go ahead and play these cards quickly, though. He's running out of time. The rope is burning. He gets the heal in. He plays one more card. So he does get himself to 16. But 8 random damage builds up quickly.
Yeah.
I think what we'll
see. I got a high school education in Florida, but I can't imagine that 8 goes into 16 more than 3 or 4 times.
Sure, yeah. I would guess at least less than 3. All right, so he goes ahead and he uses the minions and the weapon so that he makes sure that 8 damage goes face. Once again, Buckeye Fitzy up against it. Can he find a way out? Shadow Reaper Anduin will kill the Lich King, and it will give him 5 armor. However, he can no longer heal if he makes that play. Healing is out.
Well, and so is Lyra here. I can't see a lot of ways out of this one, Willie.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's looking pretty grim right now. I believe on that last turn, by the way, Randoom did have a chance to just get lethal if the 50-50 went his way, but he decided to take the safer approach.
Yeah, hey, listen, he's not, I mean, that would be a gamble. And you never know against this big priest deck.
Okay, so Shadow or Death. You can then go ahead and maybe play the Shadow Essence and hope that it pulls an Obsidian statue, which is, I believe, also a 50-50. Barnes isn't going to do much, but it does put 2 minions on the board. Yeah, I like the Shadow Essence play. And it's a Lyra.
Wow.
Okay, so I believe that's game because there's a Frostmourne in hand. Yep, that's going to do it, and Randoom is going to win. Going to get the final hit in there with the Frostmourne. And he is moving on to the finals. Buckeye Fitzy has been eliminated from the DHL Top 8 tournament.
Yeah, you know, looking for something that could do him good. Wound up getting jacked.
He just, like we said, look, Randoom he's got an interesting lineup for sure. He really likes these slow control decks. That's what beat me pretty badly, was a bunch of slow control decks. And he pilots them very well. So I think you got to say at this point, Randoom might be one of the favorites here in the top 8.
and he makes smart decisions. Obviously, he got a decent draw in the last 2 games. The first one not as good as he would have hoped, but even then, he used the strength of how strong that early play deck is.
Sure.
Got what he needed, and that was it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for joining me on the cast. By the way, we're gonna have one more semifinal match before the finals is all set up, which will be Zethun versus Tuck, and then we'll see who Randoom is going to be playing against. And once we have that all scheduled, you can pay attention to my Twitter at Willie Dills. I'll let everybody know. Hopefully, Justin, you can join me again for some of these casts.
Sure.
As we come down to the winner of season 4 of the Dills Hearthstone League. It's crazy that we've done 4 seasons
of DHL season 4. By the way, that win brought to you by an old shoe. Hey, what are you gonna do with me? Put me on your foot, bronze me, and say I was your child's first shoe? Isn't it weird that it's a 1994 Nike that's a size 8? Well, who cares? I'm just an old shoe. Coming this Christmas.
Also brought to you by that one color of nail polish your girlfriend never uses. Why does she still keep it? We don't know.
And by the new podcast from NPR, You're Dumb and We're Smart, starring Kai Rizdal and Melissa McCarthy.
That's a
Download
great
it
one.
on iTunes right now.
Also brought to you by Tiny Pencils. Why? Why are they so tiny?
Also brought to you by golf courses. Hey, we'll take those tiny pencils.
We're running out of tiny pencils. We could use all the ones that you have.
Wait, are you unloading tiny pencils? Because we are so in the market for
We are looking for tiny pencils. Okay, that's going to do it. By the way, Justin, for anybody who's watching my stream that doesn't know where the hell to find you, where can they go?
Tell you what, if you enjoy what just happened, then I implore you, while you are at work or school, blow it off or have in the corner the Friday Hype Train. That is every Friday morning
Okay.
at 10 or 11 a.m. on
So you get hyped in the morning, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, listen, as you know, Willie, I don't get hyped. I stay hyped.
You stay
so
hyped. Good. Okay.
it's
So
a real big
morning, noon, night, always hyped.
hype, all the time. So go ahead and check that out. It's me playing Hearthstone. I take live calls, and we have a really, really great time.
Sweet. And
all right.
also, you guys can check out our podcast, 1-900 Wrestling, which happens on Mondays, and it is streamed on Justin's channel. And also, you can find it on like iTunes and all the other places where podcasts are sold.
Exactly.
So,
and that is twitch.tv/Justin R. Young or justinryoung.tv. Remember the old website?
Yeah.
I put more in it, and now it's better.
That's still a thing. Cool.